Teacher's log, Kinder Adventures. So, I think I told you guys before that Kinders have little to no attention span. I think they have the attention span of a fish. Why do I say a fish? Because I don't know if a fish actually has an attention span. Okay? So, why would I say that? Well, let me tell you. We were talking about vowels. Vowels, something that's really important to, I don't know, everything. Speaking, spelling, reading, writing. Yeah, kind of like the building blocks of life, with the exception of water and air. Okay? Um, so, so those kind of things are important. We're talking about vowels. But before I get to that, I mentioned fish, and that reminded me of something else. So I don't know if you guys remember a couple episodes earlier, Giggles McGiggleton decided that fish don't have brains. Okay. Pulled up the picture. She still was like, no, no, no. Okay. So I have them just drawing on boards, and I rotate groups during playtime so they can get to different types of toys. And Giggles comes up and she's like, "Look at this, Mr. E." And I'm like, "What is it?" It's just stuff. Ha ha ha. It's a fish brain. Oh, wait a minute. I thought you said fish don't have brains. Hee hee hee. Hee hee hee. No, hold up. Hee hee hee. Hang on a second. No, you said that they don't have fish brains and that they didn't exist and all this other stuff. It's fish brains. Everybody knows they have them. This girl lives in her own world. In her own world, her entire mission statement is to just get under my skin. I haven't quite figured out whether it's on purpose or not. But either way, it's working. But whatever. I mean, it's all good. Then, go back to the vowels. Okay, so we're working on the vowels. And I'm teaching them about A, E, I, O, U, short vowel, long vowel, the different sounds, all that stuff. And Giggles decides that she's had enough. Does she know all the information? No. But she's had enough. So what does this girl do? She decides to start planking. I kid you not. She gets up, or not gets up, but she's sitting on her dot, and then she decides, they figured out what dots are now. Decides to start planking. And I'm like, so, okay, we have A and the long vowel sound. What are you doing? Are you seriously starting a Kinder Fitness Club? Like, what's the deal? And she wouldn't say anything. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, first rule of Kinder Fitness Club is don't talk about Kinder Fitness Club. It's not fair. It's not fair. And then today, like with fourth graders, I could be like, hey, we're not going to recess until you guys are quiet. Or we're not going to the next activity until you guys are quiet. So this is what I heard today. And this was not Giggles. It was not the other one that did it last time. This is a new kid who is starting to become more comfortable, which means she's starting to talk a whole lot more, especially when she's not supposed to. I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so guys, here's the deal. It's almost time to get ready for, and all I hear is, Mr. E. And I'm like, I look right at Giggles, and she's just like, looking at me like it wasn't me. Like she literally shook her head like, it wasn't me. She knew I was going to, like she knew it. And I look and I realize it's my other kid, and I'm like, hey, would you stop? Mr. E, Mr. E. And I'm like, oh my gosh, stop saying my name. Now, apparently when you say that, just like I did, they think it's funny. And so I have to stop saying that because they all laugh at this. They all laugh every time I do that. Problem with that is, like I told you, Kinders, when they laugh at you, is darn right offensive. So anyway, I'm like, all right, guys, here's the deal. Until it's quiet, we're not going to recess. Mr. E, Mr. E, Mr. E. And I'm like, I'm not listening. I'm not listening. And then she decides to step her game up. Mr. E, 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 Mr. E, 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 Mr. E, Mr. E, Mr. E, Mr. E, Mr. E. What? I'm done with my paper. I had no response. I tried to laugh, like just to laugh it off, but I couldn't. I felt like I was so offended. I don't even know what to say. So that's what's been happening in the last few days. I hope you guys are still with me. Be thinking about me, please. With that, I will end transmission.